Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday night, and my heart is so broken. My heart is broken. You know why my heart's broken. And tonight I've got somebody on who has been protesting, who has been at the funeral, who believes in Black Lives Matter, who believes in us. Someone who's a musician that we have listened to for many years. Tonight we're talking about us. This is a family conversation with Al B. Shore. And I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I'm hurting. I don't know. I just kind of want to cry. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to and fix some clothes. I'm hurting. Hey, Al.
Peace and blessings, Queen. How are you?
I'm fine, my king. Let me pull my there we go. So you can see because it was covering my face.
Okay.
How are you, Al B. Shore?
You know what? I am blessed and highly favored under the circumstances, as you are. My heart is torn in several pieces, due to the, current circumstances surrounding, just our culture. Um, but I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be breathing God's good air. As I always say, don't let anybody tell you God is good. Chicken is good. God is truly amazing. So, um,
Preach, Al B. Shore.
listen, my mother's an evangelist. So,
Your mama's evangelist? I didn't know that. So she didn't like when you were going out there singing the way you were
well, you
back in
know
the
what?
day.
At first, yeah, when I received some letters to attend, a higher education, and I had to look at her and tell her, well, this guy named Quincy Jones called and said, and she was like, what? Like I had two heads, and I said, yeah, Mom, I'm going to write a song and we're going to eat, and she was like, okay, fantastic. When are you packing for school? So. But obviously believed in me and believed in the entire journey, and instilled that confidence in me to pursue my dreams. So I'm forever grateful.
So tonight, guys, we are having a family conversation with Al B. Shore, and I'm gonna call you by your real name,
Oh, you're gonna put my
Albert
you put my
Joseph
gut
Brown III.
you put my government out there? Wow.
Albert.
No, no, April, you call me Albert. I love it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much tonight for joining tonight. Because I mean, I'm almost in tears, and I'm like, and then now they have a suspect in custody in Wisconsin for the shooting death of two protesters
Yeah, I just saw the
for
update.
Jacob Blake, 17 years old. 17. My daughter just turned 18. 17 with a gun. Now you can open carry in Wisconsin starting at age 18. I don't know what to say.
Um, you know, April, I truly believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. There are no born racist. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a
Right.
taught behavior
Mm-hmm.
in the household. So again, it truly starts within the individual households and the exposure and the rhetoric that's taught, you know, inbound as opposed to, and then obviously your surroundings afterwards. And obviously when you grow up, you make your own choices and things of that nature. But it's just truly sad to see. Um, like the old song, it's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep
I
from
keep them
going
going
under.
under.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Al, you got me up really loud because people are telling me I'm echoing. So you want to hear me and hear yourself. So turn me down just a little bit.
Oh, you know what? I don't have my headphones. Traditionally, I have my headphones. So,
So that's what it is. But turn down just a little bit if you can.
yes, ma'am.
I know in radio we blast stuff, and I'm not one, and I don't like stuff in my ears at all. Because I will not. I'm the one who won't wear a headphone. But guys, I want you to talk to us tonight. And Al, so you have been watching this. I hear that you've been to the funerals, some of the funerals. I hear you've been
Absolutely.
marching. Whose funeral did you attend?
Well, unfortunately, and fortunately, I was at the homegoing service for Mr. George Floyd, with the families, of course, representing, the National Action Network, and Reverend Sharpton and his team, and just people have no idea the countless hours that are put into just. This is probably the first thing I just wanted to share with you, because honestly, I don't even want to talk about music this evening. I want us to talk about life, culture,
Us. Us.
people. I have a T-shirt, that says, don't let the love songs fool you, because people just, specifically know me for, music and things of that nature, and being a musician and a producer and a record executive and things of that nature.
Yeah, they know you for Night
But
and Day, Off on Your Own Girl.
you know,
That big Secret Garden. They know you for all of that, but they
Jodeci and
switched.
us, but
Yeah,
but I, but
Forever,
I,
my lady.
and I'm truly blessed, April. I've been truly blessed and grateful over the years to have been able to assist in other artists' careers. Like I said, from Faith Evans to Dave Hollister to all of the incredible. I'm so proud of them all. But in every artist's life, there's a maturation process that you go through. You know, I was into my rock star, running around, so on and so forth. Just being, Albie Shore and the musician and traveling all over and so on and so forth. And then you have a grandson and become mush. And happy birthday to my grandson. His birthday is on Saturday, so I love you,
Oh,
Chase.
happy birthday.
Um, there's just so many things that I call them triggers that really kind of make you pay attention. People don't realize, as an artist and a musician, how human we are. And we go through all the same things that everybody else goes through. Even you, as a lady iconic, one of the greatest minds in Washington, and the things that you do. And, like you get up and brush your teeth like everybody else, and people don't realize that but there's a time in life that something says to you, it's kind of like a knock on the door, like, um, you've been given this access to millions of people, through your art. Um, Now, what are you going to do important with it? It's fantastic that I, make people make love and, write the love songs and things of that nature and try to bridge gaps between relationships and things of that nature. But there's a more important plight ahead of us, very specifically because of the current, just situation globally. Um,
So let's put it here. Okay, so we are now in the midst of a week of the Republican National Convention,
Good boy,
a week of hate, and I'm just
good
going to
boy.
call it out, a week of hate. Vice
You know what?
President.
Okay, I don't want to make light of it, but and I get nervous. I mean, I wanted to do this because very specifically it was you, but every time I say something, it goes viral, and but I don't. I mean, did it kind of feel like the 1930s, and you thought maybe Hitler was going to come out and with his hand raised, and I mean,
Let me
it was
tell
really.
you, I was on Twitter last
I don't
night
know.
losing my mind. I was like, there was this,
Okay, so
it
I'm
was
not
like
alone.
Trump was the white savior saving all the black folks. It was
But no,
like
but it wasn't.
brainwashing. It
April
was
wasn't even that much. It was just more or less all the setups related to some of the speeches and the anger in the face, and so there was nothing
it's
warm.
a convention of hate. And so what we're seeing, and so listen, so we're seeing this convention of hate, these lies, this deception. And you have to fact check what's going on. Now, at the end of the day, because of the president's rhetoric, he said a couple of weeks ago, and not only did he say what he did. Now let's go to that. And I want you guys to go tell people to get on this, because we're going to have a conversation tonight. It's going to be uncomfortable. We're going to tell it. And all you Trumpers who don't like it, tough, because I will block you. Okay. If I find you, I will block you. So here's the thing, because this is my IG live. Okay. You can go over to Trump Nation or wherever,
You know what's funny?
Fox News,
When people make
and
those
talk to
comments,
them. And
when
you can
people
go
make those
run tell,
comments, you got to
right.
tell them, look at the top of the page. What does it say? April.
Yeah, ADR 1600. And if you don't like it, tough. You can go run and tell everybody. I don't care. But here's the deal. It hurts me because we read these pillars. We the people who are forming a more perfect union. And guess what? Democracy is part of forming a perfect union. What is democracy? When people are allowed to peacefully protest. The
Correct.
president, and one of the reasons why Muriel Bowser, the mayor of Washington, D.C., put Black Lives Matter Plaza in effect on one of the most expensive streets in the nation is because this president challenged democracy, peaceful protesting. He tear gassed and tanked folks who don't want police brutality anymore.
It truly
Fatal.
feels like a third world country at times, just watching, you know.
So she made the executive decision on her own, stealthily, to go out and use the color of yellow crime tape and put the color of Black Lives Matter yellow crime tape. And other cities did it because there is a problem. But the president said, because he got scared, the Secret Service had to run him to the bunker to make sure that he was okay. And he got all upset. He says, I'm going to tell people, if it happens, you take up arms and you fight back. Well, that message went to a mentally unstable 17-year-old in Wisconsin, apparently. We have a right to protest. We have a right peacefully protest. That's what Dr. King did. This is almost like what they did at Bloody Sunday. I'm waiting for the hoses and the dogs. Well, the president said if you jump the fence, the dogs are going to come after you. Guys, let's open our eyes. Let's see it for what it is.
April, you're 100% correct. You are 100% correct.
He wants to make America great. In his mind, the greatness was back in the day when we were yes'em. Yes.
It truly feels like we have gone back in time, just in terms of, if there wasn't color TV, you would really think that we were in the 40s and 50s and things of that nature, when you were doing the sit-ins and so on and so forth, and the hoses and the dogs and the tear gas and things of that nature. And again, just watching it from, the media standpoint, obviously you and I, people don't realize they get a very filtered down version of the news. And that's first and foremost. And very specifically, it's just, I didn't expect to see any, just like, how we didn't really expect that we'd ever see a black president in our lifetime. I just never thought we'd see something like this in a lifetime. Even if I'm having a conversation with my grandson and he's looking at me going, is everything going to be okay? He's going to be 7 years old. So, it's mind boggling, just related to, let me tell you something that I discovered. And this is something that you and I will talk offline about, because I made a discovery, and I don't think God does anything by mistake. As a musician and a producer, I'm also, I'm into, filmmaking, and I do, shorts and so on and so forth. And I love to edit and have imagery and so on and so forth. And if you, see by my social media, I love to be creative. But I've really been focusing now on the current systemic, racism and things of that nature, and putting together images to bring awareness and light to to some of the situations here. And I was working on something. I woke up almost in a cold sweat, April, and I was thinking about my 3 sons and my grandson as young black men. And I don't know if it was a dream or was something real, and but I just woke up and I was just I had a lot of anxiety just waking up, and I went, like, man, I hope they're okay. Like, wherever they are right now, I hope they're okay. So I was inspired, and I got up and I started to just look for some material in terms of, just historic pieces, whether it's, Dr. King and George Floyd and Reverend Sharpton and Medgar Evers, just some really historic, pieces to put together, and a message. And throughout the creative process, I don't know what's going to come of it, but it's just something I was inspired to do. Mm-hmm. But the point that I'm making, I discovered that there's a portion of corporate America who has bought into our demise. I want everybody who is on here with myself and April, when you have an opportunity, if you go to YouTube and you enter Black man hung, Black man murdered, Black man choked, Black man shot, Do you know what comes up every time? A
What?
commercial for DraftKings.
For
So
what?
some quotes, April, I swear to you, someone has brought into or uses the keywords because you know how this works. I mean, you're a social media savvy person as well, so you understand how this works. But I was like, every single commercial that came up where it showed a black man hanging or being murdered or the knee on the neck or all this other stuff. For some reason, 9 out of 10 of the pieces that came up said there was a commercial for DraftKings, and I'm like, I listen. I've lived in Las Vegas for a decade, and I don't really gamble and so on and so forth. So, but I understand, what that is. But I was like, wait a minute, that's a directed mechanism of cor- corporate structure buying into our demise at some point. So, I mean, I don't know how it works in terms of YouTube and what how they do their corporate buys and so. But I was just I was taken aback a bit because I was like, every single time I was looking for another piece of historic footage related to a shooting or murder or so on and so forth, the first thing that came on was DraftKings, so and so, so and so. So I'm like, wait a minute. You and I know from doing radio, television, everything else, that's advertising. So somebody's buying our demise or benefiting from people being curious of our demise. So this, think about what I'm saying.
The people who are supporting Donald John Trump right now, who are supporting his words about race or racism. Last night I found it so interesting. He talked about S-hole nations, and he did this naturalization ceremony, and he had not one person from Norway, Sweden, or Russia, but he had people from S-hole nations. And, trying to embrace his flaws, but we get it. We got it. And at this point, it needs to stop. Democracy is crumbling, or if it's already crumbled. This is a dangerous moment, America. Um, when the rule of law is being broken and people don't care, you cannot go to the Justice Department to say help. You cannot go to the police. You can't go to your president. Something is wrong, and I am having a hard time with this.
I can imagine you being in the thick of it on a daily basis and seeing both sides of it. I mean, it has to be something that's pulling at you on a daily basis. One of the most important things that I've learned just from, you know, just being in the mix and really starting to truly pay attention to the culture related to our current circumstances and the systemic racism and things of that nature. I've just really been focusing and watching a lot of the coverage and doing a little bit of studying on it. And I noticed how, a lot of this is planned.
To rally the base, to rally the basement
A
of the
lot.
base, these racist people. David Duke is support. David Duke, look him up if you don't know who he is. He is supporting this president's reelection. You've got to see the man who does the My Pillow, that trashy pillow. If you got him, burn him. The man who does My Pillow supports this president and all this stuff. And uses the cover of God. David Duke is the former Grand Dragon or Grand Wizard, whatever they are at the KKK, is supporting this president.
Wow. Wow. It's you know what I was truly intrigued, and I was watching your IG live with Ice Cube, and what a powerful message. Big shout out to Ice Cube, my brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Known him for many many years, and I'm elated and inspired by seeing his involvement and him really using his platform as a
He put his
voice.
heart out there. He
He
put his
put it.
heart
He
out there because he
look.
wants to see
You talk
change.
about keep it 1,000 or keep it
Mm-hmm.
2020. Q just kept it 2020 and
And
just
we may not agree, but he wants to see change. Everyone comes at it in a different way. And then we have a civil dialogue. Man,
April. What do you think? What do you think about this contract with America?
the contract with Black America, I mean, I have no problem with it. Someone said today he should have put reparations on. I said, yeah. I said, I agree with reparations. But
Well, let me. Well, see, no, now you're getting to my point. So, what you just said works so well. Now, look at it like this. What if, as I just made the discovery, when I go to YouTube and I type in hanging black man, black man shot, black man murdered, black, so, and then all of a sudden this corporate buy is prominent. Should they be involved with the reparations as well? I mean, they have billions of dollars. So, I mean, you tell me.
So if you really want to get, let's get real technical about reparations. So reparations are an effort to repair a wrong. That's what reparations are. And other communities have received reparations. Japanese Americans for the internment that they suffered here. So many other groups have received reparations, but us. This president likes to say that other people built this nation. That's a la 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 la. The wealth of this nation, the wealth of mainstream America was built on the backs of our ancestors.
Correct.
Sugarcane, let's try that. The life expectancy of someone a slave who, first of all, if you came from Africa to work the plantations here, there was a process you had to go through. Before you got on the ships, you went into these small rooms. Now, if you survive that, you're strong. Then you get on the ship that was packed. Oh, it wasn't physical distancing. It wasn't a picnic where
it was a petri dish.
A petri dish. You were on your back or on your stomach, crammed like a sardine, rolling through the seas. Think about it. Feces,
with rodents, feces, everything. Absolutely.
And your stomach, an upset stomach all over you. How long was the journey? It was months. You were crammed in a building, and then you were crammed in the ship. And for those who died, they threw them overboard. The shark pattern in Africa changed because of the bodies being thrown overboard.
Wow.
This is not myth. This is not conjecture. Wow. This is truth. Okay? I've been to those slave houses in Africa many times. Okay? Now, and let's get to the women. Ladies, you like to WAP and all that stuff? The fullness of your breast determined if you were going to be taken on the journey. Because if you had full, firm, voluptuous breasts that weren't sagging, you were thought as to be firm, to be a breeder. Okay? For the next generations to roll the crops. So if your breasts were firm, they would take you. But if you were sagging, they said, oh, she had a baby, she's spoiled. So they wanted you fresh. They wanted fresh meat. Now the strongest survived the being housed, waiting for the ship to come, and then the middle passage for months. Okay, then you go on the slave. If you survived the middle passage, you were strong. The strongest survived. We are, all of us, Black folk who are here, we are the lineage of the strongest that survived. Our ancestors were strong. So now let's go from this. We're on the slave block. My great-great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, his name was Joseph Dollar Brown, sold on the auction block in Fayetteville, North Carolina, to the Brown family. If indeed we made it, we got here and we did a couple of fields, couple of different types of fields. One of them was sugarcane, very lucrative. So let's go here. A lot of this wealth here that we don't have part of, and we don't have access to capital, and the wealth gap is so wide. It was very wide before COVID. Now look at it. So let's go to this. So now with the sugarcane, a lot of the masters, let's call them masters on the plantations, they had such lucrative pockets. They were making it rain. They were building schools on our backs. You know what schools they built? Off of the free labor? Yale, Georgetown. And we can't even get in. A lot of this stuff that was built, and a lot of this stuff that excludes us, we are the ones. Our ancestors are the ones who worked and died for them to have it. So when Donald John Trump says, they built this, oh, really? And like Michelle Obama said, we built the White House that you got your feet up in.
You know what? That's very interesting, too, because I want to take it a step further, very specifically, because I think that there's a great discrepancy related to our educational system as well, because most of what is within within the publications that the
Mm-hmm.
children are studying is inaccurate, as in Columbus discovered America, and just in general, like I mean, so many inaccuracies are within things that I have to question now, and go, wait a minute. When I was, when I read this book in third grade or fifth grade or so on and so forth, you know, it's most of the education. I mean, there's another thing that needs to happen also, is rewriting, and what you just said earlier, which is very significant, the
Mm-hmm.
fact checking
Mm-hmm.
related to the educational system, what we're being taught,
Mm-hmm.
and
So,
what the children
and
are being.
there are people trying to do that now. And here's the thing: when I was a kid back in the 70s in school, slavery only had this little, like a little, maybe couple paragraphs. It was bigger than a couple of paragraphs. We've been here for over 401 years. And, we still are a community with the highest numbers of negatives because people don't want to acknowledge slavery. And going back to the issue of reparations, repairing a wrong, repairing a wrong. And General Sherman okay, guys, when they talk about the Civil War, we fought in the Civil War too. We lost people. The Civil War was over slavery. So at the end of the day, General Sherman said, okay, I'm going to let's come up with this idea to give the slaves who fought in the Union Army 40 acres of land. The mule wasn't included. And the Secretary of the Army said, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody's saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. But they never ratified it. It was never official.
Okay.
So think about it now. If they wanted to give 40 acres, and I tell people, don't sit up there and say, oh, I'm mixed race, I'm this. If you black, you better say black, because when they go to do the 23andMe and the census stuff, you better make sure you are in line, because I am looking for my money from my ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
Let me, not just money, but what is reparations? What's 40 acres now considered? A
Well,
house on the Potomac.
opportunity and access.
Yeah, opportunity and access, but a house, the money, if they dole out the money or disperse money, it's a house in the Potomac and a Maybach. And what does that equate to? That's millions. I don't buy into what Bob Johnson said, $350,000 for black folks. I don't buy into that. And I'm going to tell you something. Other communities demand stuff. This cannot happen. This is an atrocity what's happening for a president of the United States to tell people to go push back against peaceful protesters who have for 401 years been dealing with racism, being at the bottom of the barrel. Al, come on now.
Well, you know what? Let's even take it a step further, and let's go to 2020, and something that has been on my mind as of recent, related to when you watch the coverage, and you're more well than aware of the all the current coverage that goes on, and you hear the disparity, just everything just related to giving you false information. Excuse me, that's what I wanted to say. Where we see daily that the death toll is rising, but we're being told that everything's under control.
He wants to slow the testing down and
Everything's
get
under
it out
control. The
managed.
death toll is rising. In addition to, you're going to put these children back in school, which is a petri dish again. In addition to, now,
I'm not
obviously,
sending mine back. I am not sending mine back.
and to me, the only terminology that I've come up with that makes sense is population control. Now, imagine this. Imagine if this particular disease, which needs to be taken seriously, let's say it affects the older generation. Now, if you look at it very closely, what is the older generation? And is that Medicaid and so on and so forth? So if you kill off all the older people, now you don't got to pay that Medicaid and all this other stuff like that. And then if you get, hey, you know what? Hey, y'all go out, open up these places. Go, nobody's social distancing. Nobody's really practicing, some of the safety mechanisms that are in place, and the death toll continues to rise. So to me, it's called population control in some aspect.
So think about this, and I think you're right to a certain extent about population control, but let's dig in the weeds a little bit more. It's not a coincidence that when they opened up the economy is when they found out who was contracting and dying from it more.
That's the whole point. Now
Hmm. It's
we're
about
here.
controlling the browning of America. That's what it is. It's population control. It's population control, as you say. Well, I'm going to say perceived population control, but the browning of America. Once they realized what groups were getting it and being affected, things changed. And the president promised stats and data, and he's never given those stats and data on Black and brown folks who are contracting and dying. Disproportionately, we are dying in contracting this, be
Yeah.
it underlying issues or not having it, you know. So this is a lot. This is a lot.
It really is. It really is. And first of all, I want to say, first of all, thank you for having me on with you and opening this dialogue, because to me, at the end of the day, it's so significant that we have this dialogue, because it will inspire, just like certain rhetoric and dialogue will inspire somebody to cause a crime and do so and so. But this particular dialogue, I just want people to start thinking about these things. And to be honest with you, I don't have all the answers. You don't have the answers. But having the dialogue, at least starts the melting pot, the gumbo to start to stew, so that we can eat from it and start to educate ourselves. Just hearing other opinions, because, at the end of the day, I want to live, and I want to live in a healthy society, and I want my sons to do the same as well, and I want my grandson to have a future. And it's just, obviously right now we haven't seen anything like this, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you're a historian as well. So
I'm
um,
not a historian. I just seen
you just, what'd you say? You just know a
I
lot.
just
You
seen
know a
it.
lot of
I
stuff.
seen it.
We haven't seen a pandemic like this since the early 1900s. But I think it was the Spanish flu that,
It was it red fever? Was it red fever? It was, I forgot
I
what it's
believe it
called.
was the Spanish flu. I think it's something
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
it was the red flu or something. 1921, I think it was that flu, and it was a race riot.
And I think it was 1918, I believe, and I think it
Something
maybe it
like
was
it's something around there.
1918. I
Yeah.
think it was Spanish flu. I don't want to be inaccurate, um, but right now, all of this is on one particular person's watch. And in terms of, and this is probably the hardest part. Obviously, the country, our nation, is in financial ruins right now.
We're in
Because of,
recession trying to stave off a depression.
correct.
Black folks pocketbooks are depressed.
Correct. And what is happening, obviously, it's an election year. And as you know, each election year, there's some sort of something that goes on, whether it's SARS or AIDS or now it's COVID-19. It's like it. So there's a pattern here. And as I said to you, I don't want people to be so fooled into thinking, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" A lot of this stuff is planned. Just like when people see it out. I'm gonna give a little secret about entertainers. A lot of times when you see things occur, with entertainers, and this one's dating that one and all this other stuff like that. Please understand, somebody's call. That's very specifically planned from, a PR standpoint. But it's the same thing related to what goes on. Look at it like this. April, remember when a few years ago there was something set up related to no money down for to buy a home, knowing that all of that stuff was going to backfire and reverse, and they're going to pick up all that. It was a big insurance policy, knowing what I mean,
During the Clinton years, then President Bill Clinton oversaw the highest number of Black people who owned homes. And then the bank said, "Ooh, wait a minute." And then they preyed on us during the Bush years. We got foreclosed. And now, today, the numbers of Black people who own homes are like the numbers in the 1960s. And it's so important to own a home, because if you own a home, you own your destiny to a certain extent. You can use the equity in your home to send your child or children to college or build a business. Or if there's an emergency, you can borrow money on it.
absolutely. I am, and what's interesting is So, as you know, I've been, recently just truly enjoying, the brand new show, which is Love and R&B. The syndicate. I have a syndicated radio show across the country at Radio One, Urban One, and I'm truly grateful because, as you know, how things work in our industry, and
Radio has changed.
it's changed in such a major way. We're in about 16 markets right now, and I think are you in the nation's capital right now?
No, I'm outside of Baltimore right now.
Okay.
I live outside of Baltimore, and
Oh,
I'm not going
so
back to DC until COVID is down because I don't trust those people who don't wear masks.
so where I'm trying to think. So where you are, we're on Magic Baltimore every night, 7 p.m. to midnight. This is with 95.9, right? And then
Yes.
also we're on Magic 102.3 and 92.7
In
right there
DC.
in DC.
So as soon as
And
you get off of me, you're going to run right over there
running right over to get
to
on
be
the
on the
air.
air.
And but I wanted to say that not just to promote the show, but I wanted to say that because it was so important that having a, whether you're on television or radio, very specifically because the show is geared as more of the Quiet Storm format, and I'm grateful that we're number one in the Times. I mean, I'm grateful for all these things, but I've had to learn to balance, doing the whole romantic thing, providing information related to the current pandemic globally, in addition to just making sure all the sponsors are taken care of and all that other stuff. So it's an incredible balance, and what I would suggest to anyone. That's why I was just even so happy to watch my little brother D Nice, with his quarantine and just different people. You have to do what's called whatever business you're in right now because life is completely changed. Your job is to now update your software. We're all like computers, so think about it. Windows 92 is fantastic, but it ain't gonna do much for you right now. So we truly must update our software, and I talk about it even from the standpoint of I'll go back in the record industry. So let's say in the 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, there is no reason, I used to sit around and talk about, the future of music and things of that nature. Like you really truly have to sit in a room and listen to young people because they will tell you, what's next. And and I talk about this frequently, where the reason there's no more Tower Records or Blockbuster or like the Radio Shacks of the world and things of that
You
nature.
are dating yourself. You are
I mean,
dating yourself.
I know, but let me tell you that. Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm a proud 52-year-old grandfather now. Like I still have to embrace it, but he's not allowed to call me grand anything. He has to call me Pop Pops.
Hey, Granddaddy.
Yeah, I'm just Pop Pops.
Hey, Granddaddy Albert.
I know, right? No, but what I was saying was, the reason those corporations don't exist because someone was stubborn and didn't want to update the software and didn't want to really come into the new millennium. And that's why I want to tell everybody out there who has, any business or any just drive to have you on, you really have to just reinvent what that model is right now and move forward with it and be, progressive and be aggressive and be innovative. I mean, everything is just about now, taking what you have and figuring out a way to create what we call, an ancillary revenue stream from the traditional way, because things are not the same anymore. So you really have to just get off your butt and make it happen and just do it. Like it's just time to just take it to another level. And it's difficult. Anything worth anything isn't easy. I was raised understanding that.
Technology is the new delivery system. Technology.
Absolutely. Right. And what I was saying was it's the same. So just like there is no reason why Warner Brothers. I was at Warner Brothers for many years. Big shout out to Benny Medina and rest in peace Andre Harrell and my label mates for many. Prince and Madonna and Tevin Campbell and we had a great Bismarck. Big shout out to Bismarck. We had Warner Brothers was amazing. But I tell you this much: there's no reason why Warner Brothers did not. Because you have a bunch of people say, the executives, nobody's going to listen to a song on an MP3 or watch a movie on a device and so on and so forth. And they don't realize right now these smart devices are the new distribution system. But that being said, there is no reason why a Warner Brothers or Sony or Capitol Records did not fund iTunes. Now they're paying a premium for the distribution. Think about it. So I just wanted to give a little, just to touch on just on the music side of things. But again, I'm using that as an example. Just that you really just you have to be innovative in business now, and I'm learning. Listen, I'm 52 and I'm still learning.
And you have and owning the game is important, because when you own the game and when you control the narrative, when you control the table, you don't have this kind of thing happening to you. And we are not owning like we should. We are not in the games like we should be. And
There
that's
was
the
there was a
problem.
great executive. Do you remember a gentleman by the name of Dick Griffey? He started Solar Records. He was a partner, I guess, with Don Cornelius and so on and so forth. And he came out with I remember this VCR tape that I took from him, and it talked about slave ship to ownership and talking about owning your masters and things of that nature. I recommend everyone, if you have an opportunity, to see The Black Godfather on Netflix regarding Clarence Avant and Quincy
Yeah.
Jones. So
Yeah.
it's brilliant, and and he talks about that in terms of some the artists that he's worked with. But what you said, the
He was
ownership is key.
black man running things, owning the table,
Absolutely.
bringing people to the table. And that's one thing we've forgotten. We can't worry about, just getting to the table. We need to own the table. We need to study to show ourselves approved. I'm getting biblical now. And, in this moment in history, Al, you're so right. We have to do more. We have to be more, because once we are more and once we do more, they won't be trying to pull us, telling people to go out and shoot us and do whatever to us when we want democracy. Democracy is being challenged right now. All why? Because it's not okay for police to shoot a black man no matter what, like the way they did this man Jacob Blake in the back in front of his three kids.
You know what? I want to acknowledge someone that we all know and love, and an old friend as well. And it really touched me yesterday seeing some of the footage of the head coach of the LA Clippers, Doc Rivers, and his emotional testimony, at the press conference, and just talking about, it went from basketball to life, and understanding his platform, and just seeing, basically him break down and talking about how frustrated he was, just to, to see. That's something I was actually working on too, when I got up and I was putting together, I want to acknowledge the family of Jacob Blake, the young man who is now paralyzed, who was shot 7 times in the back, the family of George Floyd, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, and I don't want to leave anyone out, but I really just want to acknowledge, we uplift you. It's
This is a family thing, and we supporting family. It's tough, Al. It's tough. It's tough. I almost cry. I get you, because I was getting ready to cry a minute ago.
So I want you to imagine this, April. I'm sitting. Now, mind you, Reverend Sharpton always laughs at me because he knows I like to be, very quiet. I'm like a little bit different of an entertainer. I don't need to be on blast. So, I'm in the mask and I'm hidden under the hat and I'm so on and so forth. And I'm just kind of I want to be there and to assist with the families. I didn't even say I was there or anything. But the most interesting aspect of being at Mr. George Floyd's homegoing service was I'm sitting, and it was so amazing, to see, Alex Avant and Jamie Foxx and just all the support from the entertainment community and
Tyrese, Neo,
Tyrese, Terrell Owens, it was an amazing, just support system for the family. But what I wanted to say was this: I was sitting in the middle of the families, and I'll never forget this feeling for the rest of my life, April. I was literally sitting there and I'm hearing, now, I'm into harmonies and, Jodeci and, I love all that stuff and colors and structures with chords and things of that nature. But this is the most unique form of harmony that I heard while sitting in the middle of the mothers of the slain people and hearing them cry out at different times and the anguish and so on and so forth. And it was such a dissonant harmony. It was something else.
Eric
And
Garner's mother was there. Gwen Carr was there. Yeah.
so you understand what I'm saying? And it was like, it was such a different sound of hearing the mothers cry out every once, when they had their moments. And I just sat there and things just start to change and evolve in your brain. And you start to really think like, what's important? Like and then I started thinking of my sons and, they're out there doing their thing. And, I'm like, life is different, April. Life is really, really different. And it's the importance barometer has kind of switched of, what's truly important in life and what, surviving and like I said, creating this level playing field and opening this dialogue, gaining access, equal access to, to finance, the banks. I mean, I don't want to be too technical about it, but but I wanted to just focus more on feeling the pain and not, I mean, I can't even imagine,
It's
but
time for us
hearing
to
them
rise up and say no more. It's
from
basically
every
what you're
angle.
saying. I know when we are a community with the highest numbers of negatives in almost every category, and now we're being killed because we want more, we want justice, we want equality. What the hell? I mean,
Well,
I was hoping
first
that
of all,
years early.
what we should do, and this is something that whoever's whatever city you're in, I'll make sure I give everyone all the stations around the country and everything. But what you will hear tonight is we need to get out and vote. As messed that right. So listen. So if you go to News One, NEWSONE news1.com/vote. Get yourself in the mix. Let your voice be heard. This is such an important time right now. News1.com/vote. Please register to vote.
So here's what I'm going to do you one better though, Al. I want to go to think that this is that necklace that former First Lady Michelle Obama had vote on it. I want you all to go and find your election supervisor in your community, wherever you are, and vote early. Call now if you have to, and make sure you know where the drop off is. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't fool if you don't have to. I wouldn't fool with the post office.
Well, wait, April. I was going to ask you that. Now, what is the deal? What is the deal with this? With moving the election?
I would
Because I
not
heard that they were
fool with
moving
the
the
U.S.
election.
Post Office because your president is tampering with the U.S. Postal Service. It's taking people can't get their medicines on time. Their lives are depending on it. They're not getting checks on time. Farmers are not getting their chickens. They're dying in the mail, because they're not coming in time. This president wants to suppress the vote, and he's playing with the mail because he knows Black people are voting by mail in droves. So here's what I would do, and this is real. Call your election supervisor's office tomorrow when they open. And typically they have a ballot box that you can get the absentee ballot and drop it off. Maybe they'll mail it to you, I don't know, but call today. Not only call tomorrow and get the information of one, how to get the ballot. Two, where could you drop it off in the ballot box versus sending it through the USPS? Because I would not trust the mail anymore.
Well, you know why? Because first of all, I just saw on the news, I saw trucks removing the mailboxes, taking them off the street, and I was like,
taking the mailboxes off the street, and the sorting machines have changed. The whole system is being changed, and in Congress they're trying to fix this. Guys, they are trying to manipulate every way they possibly can. Go to your elections, the Board of Election Supervisor in your county, wherever you are. Find out how you get your ballot right now, and then take it to where the supervisor's drop-off box where you can put the ballot in versus putting it in the mail. Because I'm going to tell you, if you put it in the mail tomorrow, it may not even get there by November 3rd. Who knows?
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's like, as I said, I think there's it's a very deliberate effort to interrupt the system. In addition to
voter suppression in effect. from the
You know,
highest office in the land.
April, I spoke to my dear friend Bird. You know, he's the bailiff on Judge Judy, and
Okay.
and what a smart man. And he talked to me about the Electoral College and how we really just need to get rid of it because it's just such it's you know
That's a whole, Al, that's a whole
I,
nother conversation. And then your boy Kanye, whoo, that's a whole nother thing. Because if he got in, he would have messed with the Electoral College possibly. That's a whole nother conversation. This is government and civics 101. We're gonna have that conversation later. But it is 6:52. You got to be on the air at 7 o'clock.
but that's okay. But I'm with you to the bitter, so you know how we do. I'm Mount Vernon for life, so I'm running with you to the bitter, right to the end. So we
Okay,
going
okay. Look,
you know how we
I
do.
don't want Alfred and Kathy Hughes coming after me. You had Ali Shore late for his show.
Big
So
shout out. First of all, big shout out to Kathy Hughes, Alfred, the entire family. Kashawn, Colby Kolb. I mean, just what an amazing family at Radio and Urban One, and I just want to thank them for all the support, especially during these times. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Just an amazing team of executives there who because it's been a big shakeup, at the network, and I don't want to go into detail, but we're still, big shout out to Ricky Smiley, obviously, who does our mornings, D.L. Hughley, Russ Parr, Donnie Simpson, I love it. That's my man, 40 grand. I
that's
just,
my man,
all
40 grand. Okay.
Sean Andre, I just, it's a great family. And I'm grateful, to have this platform, April, to continue to deliver, the most romantic music on earth, and everything. We rocking that Sade to Earth, Wind and Fire, some New Edition. We got the
You know what?
Girls.
I wish it wasn't cold because I want to see me some Sade. But before we go, someone said that they're watching the BBC and they're talking about voter suppression right now. Guys, don't believe this is a dream. Believe it. If you can see it, taste it, feel it, smell it, it is real. The question is, what are you going to do? Al is going to the funerals. He's marching. We're talking. This thing is meant to inform you, to empower you, to give you how-tos. Don't let us be sitting here just talking to ourselves. Go do something. Be active. Go do something. Do something. This week we've got the March on Washington at the end of the week. The
Absolutely.
57th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs, Justice, and Freedom.
Absolutely. And it's going to be
Reverend
epic.
Al's gonna be down
Reverend
there.
Al Sharpton, yes.
Are you going to be down there?
You know what? We're working on all the details right now, but it'll be, if you go to nationalactionnetwork.net, that's nationalactionnetwork.net. All the information's right there. It's very, it's be a part of history. Listen, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So be a part of history. Do not, if you have an opportunity, you can get there. Please make sure you're there. Let me give you a little bit of an update too. So the Lincoln Memorial, Friday, August 28th, the Lincoln Memorial. And you're going to have, obviously Reverend Al Sharpton presiding. You also have Martin Luther King III is there.
Jamal Bryant is going to be
Jamal, yep, Jamal, that's my brother. That's my other brother. And now watch this. All of the families will be there as well. In addition to
Breonna Taylor's family is going to be there. Yeah,
absolutely. In addition to, I want to make sure I get the name exactly right. Jacob Blake's father is going to be speaking. The young man who was just shot 7 times, by law
couldn't contain
enforcement.
him at the press conference yesterday, talking about his grandchildren,
Yeah,
how they're psychologically affected for the rest of their
and
lives.
because I believe the kids were in the back seat of the car, correct?
3 children. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so guys, here's what's going to happen. Reverend Al is having the physical march, but in the midst of a pandemic, we need you. If you choose to go, wear your mask. Because I heard
You have to have your mask on.
They said you are not going to be allowed on the premises of the park if you don't have your mask. And I understood the National Park Service gave like 50,000 masks too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
So masks will be provided as well. But my suggestion would be to bring your own gloves, your masks. Make sure that you are practicing, as much as you can, social distancing, staying with your group.
Physical distancing, and stay 6 feet apart, please, because we want to see you. So yeah, so it's going on. There will be thousands there, but you got to be safe. Okay, you
Yeah,
got to be safe, and you got to
and
think safe about it.
as we will always say, April, you know, we really, this is a part of history, and this is so significant. I was so happy to see, you know, all the coverage. You know, I don't want to shout out our friend, but I just got to say this. The incredible coverage around the globe that
Mhm.
is going to, you know, attend and to make sure that this message is heard throughout the globe. You know, I even saw, you know, where Queen Latifah's doing, you know, a Facebook thing, and she's going to be covering it for BET, and you know, just
And I'm doing it virtual, and I'm
and
actually
you
I'm
and
actually hosting the virtual NAACP
I
March
love
in Washington. For those who are not going, go to the virtual NAACP March for 2 days. We got it for 2 days.
okay.
Reverend Al is going to be on that. Jamal is going to be on that. PJ Morton. It's a lot of people going to be on.
So many
Bishop
dignitaries and so many, you know, executives and
Bishop Barber is
clergy
going to
and
be on that. Yeah. So
absolutely.
if you want to go to the physical one, it's there for the 57th anniversary. Also, like Al said, Queen Latifah is hosting something on Facebook. I'm doing the virtual for the NAACP. And, you know, we've got 2 days of it. So, guys, this is a moment in history as we are dealing with suppression, oppression, and racism from the highest office in the land. Okay,
Yeah.
we got to be counted, whether you're virtually counted or whether you're physically counted. We need each other right now. We are family, guys. We got to stand in. I am my brother's keeper. No, I'm my brother. I am my sister's keeper. No, I am my sister. We gotta adopt that mentality, right, Al? Right,
Absolutely,
Albert?
absolutely, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So let me tell you something. Look, I'm only a couple months older than you. Don't you be ma'aming me. So I'm gonna say this before we go. So a lot of people say, "Oh, Al, I love you. I love you." So I'm gonna say this. Years ago, I was in love with Al B. Shore. In my mind, he was my husband. Okay, in my mind, when he used to sing those little songs, I'm saying, "Oh, you singing that to me, Al? Thank you."
I so, listen, April. I so appreciate it. Listen, um, you know, I'm just so grateful to have this vehicle of expression called music, and you know, it's just been such an amazing journey. You know, from every aspect of it, like you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm so looking forward to the new Uptown Records miniseries coming to
Okay.
fruition, which has been greenlit. We just, I don't know the whole status of it yet, but Andre, before Andre passed away, he had certain, you know, just demands of how he wanted things, and I have all, you know, I've posted it and so on and so forth. I don't know what's really happening with it right now, but also too, he talked about, you know, that being, this is how unselfish, and I want to close with this. This is how unselfish Andre Harrell was. Andre said, we were sitting, myself, Paxton Baker, you know, the former, he used to run Centric and BET, and so, you know, your buddy Paxton. And I remember we were sitting at the Sunset Marquee in LA. It's the day of the Grammys, the day that Kobe passed away, and that morning, and we had a meeting that morning about the miniseries, and we just talked about how he wanted
Heavy
three.
D. Someone said Heavy D. I was in love with Heavy D too.
Yeah,
Good
no, you know,
Lord.
that was our first little group for Money
Bon
Earned in Mount
diddly
Vernon.
diddly
From
diddly
Diddly Diddly
D.
Diddly Dee, Money Earned in
Oh,
Mount Vernon in the building.
I
Um,
search low and I search high to find myself a cutie pie.
yeah,
Those are the
I want
songs.
somebody.
Jesus. Yes! Oh my God. Anyway, moving on.
Oh man,
Ah,
but really quickly,
we
like
miss you,
basically,
Heavy.
they said, hey, listen, you know, he said, look, he wanted night one to be about Heavy D, night two to be about Al B. Shore, night three about Guy, and then to sprinkle it, you know, with Puff and Mary and all the other stuff like that, and then that should be the DC Marvel Comics to do all of the individual stories, and then he wanted to executive produce my life story next, which people have no idea, you know, just, you know, after making that first phone call to Def Jam to try to seek out and try to get a deal for Heavy D, from Eddie F's Basement. Big shout out to DJ Eddie F, and big shout out to everybody in Mount Vernon. And thank you for the support. First of all, I appreciate you. Please continue to be the amazing voice you are, April, and just
Oh,
you're such a blessing to us. And like, we're so proud to see you representing us in such an amazing and classy way all the time. And just keep doing you at the highest level, and continue to update your software and inspire those around the globe. We love you so much and I appreciate you.
Albert, I'll be sure. I adore you, have adored you for a long time, and I don't want to make you late for your job, but I thank you so much. I think you're a voice, and people don't realize that you're out here dealing with issues of social justice, and we all are being counted. And I thank you so much for lending your voice, because when you lend your voice, so many others can stand on your shoulders and they can go out here. And we all need to stand on one another's shoulders, because we got to lend our voice to this. This is a moment we cannot let slip away, because whatever we lose here, we may not gain ground back. And that's the truth.
Absolutely.
I'll be
Absolutely.
sure.
You're 100% correct. First of all, I am honored and I thank you for having me on your IG live. And I want to say hello to everybody around the globe that's visiting, because we actually, what I did see, we have South Africa, we have
We had a
Germany.
lot of flags from a lot of different places.
Oh yeah. So peace and blessings to everyone around the globe. Listen, I'll be on the air actually in a few minutes. If Love and R&B is not yet in your city, you can always visit albshore.net. And you can listen live right there. And there's all the stations you can find out in your city. Because we're in, right now, I think we're in, I'll do this really quickly. We're in, obviously, the nation's capital on Magic 102.3, 92.7. We're in Baltimore on 95.9. We are in Dallas, Fort Worth on Magic 94.5. We're in St. Louis on 95.5, The Loop. We're in Chicago on 106.3 FM. Cincinnati, 100.3. Cleveland, the home of LeBron James, 93.1 WZAK. We're in Magic, Columbus, Ohio on 95.5. The Juice in Toledo, Ohio, 107.3. Foxy, 107 and 104 in Raleigh. And then Kiss Richmond. We're rocking in Richmond, Virginia on 99.3 and 105.7. And lastly, we up in New Orleans now. We in New Orleans.
NOLA, you in NOLA, all right.
We in New Orleans, y'all. Listen, on Hot 92.9 New Orleans. All right. So those are some of the stations that we're continuing to grow.
You hear that?
Oh, now watch this. I got to do the whole. If I can still do the dance,
I'll be so wild.
No, thank you
I
so
had to end with
April,
that.
listen, thank you so much. I look forward to sitting down with you. Let's break bread, social distance with our masks. And I got to do this, the last thing, because somebody would get real mad at me if I didn't do it. I started a new movement called Dream It to Fruition. And basically, the term New Jack Swing, well, I changed it and I updated it. So now it's called newjacksexy.com. And all it is, it's not what it sounds like, because all it is say, look, when you wake, if you're blessed enough to wake up every morning, you look into your mirror and say to yourself, I am New Jack Sexy. And it doesn't mean anything arrogant. It means I am going to beat cancer. I'm going to get this new job. I'm going to pass my finals. I'm going to, beat this diabetes type, whatever. So anything related to what's going on in your particular situation is very, very significant. And I got none but love for you, April.
I got nothing but love for you, I'll be sure.
And thank you for keeping it grown at newjacksexy.com.
Amen. You go get on your show, and we're going to close out listening to you, because I'm telling you, this brings back memories. But we need something to uplift us in the midst of this heavy. So, Al, I appreciate you. Go do your show. He is literally on the air after he gets off me. Peace, Al. And we'll talk. We'll talk. So whenever you're in the Baltimore area, come on my porch. We'll have some crabs.
Okay, because I'm going to slide up in your DM. I'm going to put my number in there, so make sure you hit me so we can plan something.
Slide up in my DM all the time anyway. So
You already know. I wasn't trying to put it out there.
Bye, Al. Love you. Bye. Thank you. The great Al B. Shore. So listen, it's about us. Oh my gosh, my shirt. It's about us supporting us, okay? So listen. Remember that? For me. Remember that song? That was Al B. Shore. That was everything back in the day. But when we grow up, we fight for the people. We fight for the people. And I want to tell you guys, I want you to sit back, hold yourself, love yourself, because this is a moment of pain. But stand up and fight when you get up out of your chair. We got to fight hard, because there are people out there who don't want us to survive. So I want you guys to survive. And this is why we're having these conversations. So tomorrow night, I want you to join me back at 6 p.m. We've got Michael Steele, former head of the Republican National Committee. He's joining us tomorrow. Next week, I am so pleased on Monday. Guess what I'm going to have on Monday? Activist herself, Tamika Mallory. And then on September 1st, I'm going to have the great Hillary Clinton. And then on September 2nd, we're going to have Alyssa Milano. And with that, and then I'm going on vacation because I turn 53 next weekend. So I'm excited about that. Next Saturday, I'm 53 years old and I'm excited about it. I've lost a lot this year, but I've gained so much more. And I appreciate you guys. It's been a tough time on a lot of levels, and we all are going through it. But I just want you to know that I'm here for you, and I want you to be here for me, because I'm telling you, it ain't easy out here in these COVID streets, as you know. But, you know, I think it's so great to have people. Thank you for the happy birthday wish. It's so nice to have people who are out there fighting, even if he's fighting undercover. I'll be sure you didn't know it was him with his baseball cap on or with his Kango hat on. All of us are out here marching and doing something for the cause, for the culture. It's about the culture. We don't have time for a lot of foolishness. So, guys, our lives depend on this one. As Beyonce says, the great philosopher, vote like your life depends on it. It does. See you tomorrow night with Michael Steele at 6 p.m. Okay? Thank you for the birthday wish. It's next weekend. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend. I think next Saturday I'm going to go kayaking with a dear friend of mine. He and I go kayaking all the time. So I think we're going to do that. And then I don't know what else the day is going to bring. But peace, guys. Are you speaking Friday? No, I'm not speaking Friday. This thing is only Monday through Thursday sometimes, if we get that. I'm not doing Friday. 53 looking like gold. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it is what it is. I need vacation time too. So when I get off of here tonight, I got to go in the kitchen, literally change my shirt, change my clothes, go in the kitchen, got to fix the kids some catfish nuggets and some kale and something else. I don't know what else. And eat and then watch the RNC, the hate convention. Peace, guys. Love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Love one another. Love you. Bye-bye.